Good morning everyone. This is Muhammad Asif, English trainer in Suraj School. On the behalf of Suraj School, today I am going to teach you a very interesting topic in English grammar, and that is voice. So what is the definition of voice? First of all, I need to tell you. So my dear student, the voice of a verb. The voice of a verb tells whether the subject of a sentence performs what? Performs or receives the action. So what does it mean? So the voice of a verb tells whether the subject of a sentence receives or performs the action. So my dear students, first of all, I hope you might have understood that what is the definition of this, but I need to tell you one more thing, that how many types of voices in English grammar. So there are two types of voices in English grammar. First one is active voice. Second one is passive voice. So dear student, we will discuss both voices one by one. So I am going to repeat this definition of a voice again. The voice of a verb tells whether the subject of a sentence performs or receives the action. It means in any sentence, what is subject doing? Is subject receiving the action or subject performing the action? So we will discuss all these things in this video. So first of all, how many types of voices in English grammar? There are two types of voices, active voice and passive voice. So now let's discuss these voices one by one. So my dear student, first of all, I will tell you about the active voice. What are active voice and what is the difference between active and passive voice? So dear student, I'm gonna write here. First one is active voice. So how will you, when in any sentence, so what is active voice? In active voice, the subject of a sentence performs the action. Yes, my dear student, in active voice, the subject in active voice, the subject of a sentence performs the action. So my dear student, what is active voice? In active voice, the subject of a sentence performs the action. When subject is performing the action in any sentence, this is called an active voice. For example, if I take one example here, right? You are taking an online class. For example, you are taking an online class. So here you is a subject, and what is you doing? You are performing what? Taking means you are taking an online class. So here you is active. If you is a subject and if you is a subject and your subject is active, so this sentence is in active voice. If I take another example, okay, let's take another example like they play football in India. Like they play football in India. So my dear student, here what is there? There is a subject, and they play football in India. So it means here they is active. If they means if your subject is active, so it means this sentence is in active voice. So my dear student, active voice, what is active voice? In active voice, the subject of a sentence performs the action. So this is called active voice. Now if I tell you about passive voice, so what is passive voice? So my dear student, I'm gonna tell you both things one by one. As I told you that in active voice subject performs the action. So second one is in passive voice. In passive voice. So what happened in passive voice? So in passive voice, when subject receives the action, in passive voice, so the subject receives the action. In passive voice, the subject receives the action. Okay, so it means what? So here our subject is passive because subject is receiving the action. In passive voice, in active voice, what happened? In active voice, our subject performs the action, and in passive voice, our subject receives the action. So in passive voice, the subject receives the action. For example, if I give you one example, so example like I'm going to take, first of all, I'm going to take the active voice example, then I will convert it into passive voice. Okay, so like Lakshmi cleans my office. Lakshmi cleans my office. So can you please tell me that it is in active voice or in passive voice? Of course, it is in active voice. Why it is in active voice? Because Lakshmi is a subject and Lakshmi is performing something here. What is she performing? She cleans the office every day. She cleans the office. So Lakshmi is active. So it means it is an active voice sentence. Okay, it is the sentence in active voice. Now what are we learning? We are learning passive voice. In passive voice, the subject receives the action. So here subject is not receiving the action. It means it is in active voice. So how will you convert it into passive voice? So my dear student, what is our subject? Sorry, what is our object in passive voice? In passive voice, the object of an active voice changes into subject of an passive voice. So my office is in singular form. So it means, and the sentence is in present tense. So my office is cleaned. My office is cleaned by Lakshmi. My office is cleaned by Lakshmi. So my dear student, here my office is a subject, and what is in the sentence? My office is receiving the action by Lakshmi. So it means in passive voice, subject receives the action. So subject is my office. So my office is receiving the action by Lakshmi. So it is called passive voice. So it is the sentence in passive voice. Have you understood? Okay, my dear student, you may be thinking that how can we change the object of a active voice into subject of the passive voice? So my dear student, I will clear all the things. You don't need to worry about all these things. I'm just telling you the difference between active and passive voice. So now we have to discuss it one by one. You need to remember some points. I'm gonna make you understand many points about this topic. So I hope you might have understood what is the active voice and what is the passive voice. Now I'm going to teach you, I'm going to make you understand one by one. The point number you need to remember, those points you need to remember while making active voice, while changing active voice into passive voice or passive voice into active voice. So my dear student, first of all, I'm going to talk about how will you know that in which situation will you how will you know that in which situation you need to change the active voice into passive voice? So point number 1, my dear student, point number 1 says, what it says, when speaker does not know, when speaker does not know the doer of the action. It means when speaker does not know the doer of the action. जब स्पीकर को पता नहीं होता है that who is doing, who is performing the action. When speaker doesn't know the doer of the action, then we change, then we make the passive voice. Okay, in point number 1, when speaker doesn't know the doer of the action. Okay, second point number 2. In point number 2, when listener does not know, when listener does not know the doer of the action. So when the first point I made to understand, when speaker doesn't know the doer of action, the doer of the action, then we change active voice into passive voice. And the second point is, when listener doesn't know the doer of the action, then too we change active voice into passive voice. And the third point is, and in third point number 3 says, what does it say? It says, when the speaker want to hide the doer of the action. When the speaker want to hide the doer of the action, then too we change active voice into passive voice. So my dear student, I'm gonna repeat it again. That point number 1 says, when speaker doesn't know the doer of the action. When speaker doesn't know, speaker को नहीं पता होता है who is doing the work, who is the doer of the action. When second point, when listener doesn't know the doer of the action, then too we change active voice into passive voice. And point number 3, when the speaker wants to hide the doer of the action. When speaker wants to hide the doer of the action, then too we change active voice into passive voice. So my dear student, these are the points. By these points you can understand that this sentence is going to be changed into passive voice. Hope you might have understood. So my dear student, in this video I am going to teach you, I have just taught you this thing, and in my next video I will complete the passive voice. Okay, so keep on watching the videos on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much and have a good day.